Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Viewers, the WAQF Amendment Bill has finally been tabled in Parliament earlier today, and after deliberations of the JPC, even as we speak, a heated debate is underway in Parliament over the same. For the BJP, it was a hectic task as they brought their allies together to support the government in implementing this reform. Earlier today, the Minority Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju accused the opposition of spreading rumours about the bill, but also called out the opposition for diluting the existing WAQF Act back in 2013 solely for the sake of politics and vote bank. The government has highlighted how the government has put the focus on Sabka Saath, because this is no longer about a specific sect or subsect of Muslims. The government wants to ensure that all different sects of the Muslim community are also covered in this new act, which includes Bohra Muslims and Aga Khani Muslims. Not just that, women will also now be mandatorily included in the WAQF councils. Now, Union Home Minister Amit Shah further went on to speak of how the RJD president, Lalu Prasad Yadav, back in 2010 spoke of introducing a law against WAQF loot. And now, the Modi government is finally implementing something that the India bloc's own leader once wanted.
लालू जी ने क्या कहा? आप देखिए, सारी जमीनें हड़प ली गई हैं, चाहे सरकारी हो या गैर सरकारी। वक्फ बोर्ड में जो काम करने वाले लोग हैं, उनके द्वारा सारी प्राइम लैंड को बेच दिया गया है। लेकिन मैं चाहता हूं कि भविष्य में आप कड़ा कानून लाइए और ये जो चोरी करने वाले लोग हो, उनको जेल की सलाखों के पीछे। अब साहब, लालू प्रसाद की इच्छा इन्होंने तो पूरी नहीं की, नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने पूरी कर दी। संसद का कानून है, सबको स्वीकार करना पड़ेगा। स्वीकार नहीं करेंगे मतलब क्या है? कैसे बोल सकते हैं कोई? हम कानून को स्वीकार नहीं करेंगे। ये कानून भारत सरकार का है, हर एक पर बंधन करता होगा और इसको स्वीकार करना पड़ेगा।
Now, the government has been clarifying a lot of the charges that have been leveled by opposition parties and saying that several of the facts have been distorted, and this is the clarification that the government has sought to put out as far as the bill is concerned. A myth that the WAQF assets are to be revoked. In fact, the legitimate WAQF assets will stay is what the government is saying. There's also no survey of WAQF properties that is being propagated. That's a myth, says the government. The fact is that the DC will conduct these surveys. Also going on to say that majority non-Muslims on the board, and therefore it is an injustice, has been repeated by various opposition political parties. The government says that the majority members will continue to be Muslims as far as the board is concerned. Muslims' personal land to be acquired is another charge that's being leveled. There's no personal land that is to be acquired, is the government's clarification on the same. The government is going to take over WAQF properties, another charge that has been repeated by several, including Asaduddin Owaisi and others. In this case, the government says that the bill empowers the district collector to review the properties that are in existence. Non-Muslims to control the WAQF board, again, is a myth, and the majority members will be Muslims, is what we've already clarified as well. Historic Muslim sites are going to be affected is another charge that has been leveled. There's no interference with historic sites, says the government as well in this entire case. But despite this fact check, there are some in the Muslim community who continue to believe the WAQF bill infringes upon the rights of people. However, there are others who are endorsing the bill, as even celebrations broke out earlier in different parts of the country. Take a look.
देखिए, ये जो गलतफहमी है, ये गलतफहमी पैदा की ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम प्रेस लॉ बोर्ड ने और एमआईएम के अध्यक्ष असदुद्दीन ओवैसी साहब ने। अब ये संशोधन बिल आ रहा है, तो इससे अब वाकिफ की मंशा के मुताबिक ये जो है वो काम होगा, गरीब, कमजोर, लाचार मुसलमानों की मदद होगी। अगर तमाम ज़मीनों का सही इस्तेमाल किया जाए और जायज़ तरीके से होने वाली आमदनी गरीब कमज़ोर मुसलमानों पर ख़र्चा की जाए, तो पूरे भारत में एक भी मुसलमान गरीब नहीं मिलेगा।
मुझे तो ऐसा मानना है कि वो बिल पास भी होगा, क्योंकि उनके पास मेजॉरिटी है, लेकिन हम उस बिल को तब भी नहीं मानेंगे, उसको काला कानून ही करार देंगे और इस कानून को हम एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे।
Now, even as the government tried to clarify on these contentions, opposition continued to harp on a familiar narrative. For them, this amendment is anti-Muslim and unconstitutional.
And I will request my parliament members also, they are fighting for WAQF today. because the Jumla party is only one-point program to divide the country.
मुल्क का पूरा माहौल बर्बाद किया जा रहा है, जहर आलूद किया जा रहा है और हमारा मुल्क म्यांमार की तरह के रास्ते पे जा रहा है। आप देखिए उनके कब्रिस्तान भी ये लोग छीन लेंगे, मस्जिदों की बात, दूसरी प्रॉपर्टीज की तो बात ही नहीं है, ये हमारे कब्रिस्तान भी हमसे छीनना चाहते हैं।
कहना है कि नीतीश कुमार जी और चंद्रबाबू नायडू उन पे दबाव था।
बिल्कुल दबाव है, बिल्कुल खौफजदा है वो। उनको लगता है कि अगर हम इनकी बात नहीं मानेंगे तो शायद जो बाकी पार्टीज का, बाकी लीडर्स का हशर हुआ।
This is a very ill-intended bill. This will weaken the welfare of poor people or minority people. It's a sad day for the country that the minister stands up and talks about a bill which is in contrary to the constitution. This is a very, 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 very ill-intended bill. It will have repercussions on the people, welfare of people, and we should oppose it.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining us here in our studio is Shahzad Poonawala, BJP National Spokesperson. GM Shaheen, Senior Leader of JDU, is with us. With us also is Jerome Anto, a political and religious observer. We have Dr. Anand Ragnathan, author, joining us. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, is with us. Also with us is Salem Dharnidharan, DMK's National Spokesperson. With us is Rajiv Riaz Pratapgadi, political analyst. And let me take the first question across to you. Shahzad Poonawala, you must have heard Mehbooba Mufti. She says that India is heading towards the direction of Myanmar. Next, even graveyards will be snatched. Kabristan bhi le jayenge. Your response to these claims that are coming in from different opposition leaders?
First of all, Madhav, I'm not here just as the national spokesperson of BJP. In fact, I'm also here as an Aga Khani Muslim. And you would know that Aga Khani properties were usurped by WAQF. And therefore, when Mehbooba Mufti makes this claim, first of all, she's the same one who said CA aa jayega to nagrikta chin jayegi, 370 chala jayega to tiranga uthane wala koi nahi rahega. Both of those claims have been proven to be false. And today, when she's trying to give it a Hindu-Muslim spin, I want to ask 3 or 4 specific questions. One, majority of the recommendations have been made by Muslims. Sachar Committee report, Rahman Khan report, whether it is the other Muslim intellectuals who have said that there should be changes into this entire WAQF system. So is this a Hindu-Muslim issue? The Catholic Bishop Council and the Catholic Bishop Conference of India have also complained about how their lands have been usurped. Many other people have been the bhuktabogis of the encroachment powers of the WAQF. So how is this a Hindu-Muslim issue? It is actually an issue between the Muslim land grabbers who collude with the political agents and with the WAQF administrators and grab the land which is meant for the poorest of the poor Muslims. Today what will be ensured is digitization, accountability of the mutawallis, of the records. It will ensure that proper utilization of these lands are taking place. It will ensure that there is no corruption, and it will ensure that the benefits flow to the poorest Muslims. But it will also ensure that there is going to be a proper following of the constitutional norms. So I can lastly sum it up in 2 words. It is S for Samvidhan ki Suraksha and S for Samajik Nyay. Ironically, those parties who talk about Samajik Nyaya are opposing it today.
Tehseen, respond to that, because you know there are facts and there is facts that have been put out by opposition parties, and clearly the BJP is saying that this is nothing but an attempt at fear-mongering, given the kind of statements that you see even responsible leaders, those who've been chief ministers such as Mehbooba Mufti making. Tehseen.
Thank you so much, Madhav, for having me on the show. At the onset, I absolutely don't support Mehbooba Mufti. I think she may have been a chief minister, but she's extremely right and fringe on that sense. So I don't want to debate her. Let me debate the issues legally. The BJP spokesperson articulately says, listen, look, all the land, there've been land grabbing that's happened. I agree. Aga Khani Muslims' land have been taken away. I am also an Aga Khani Muslim. Agreed. This bill is not retrospective. It solves no problem. Secondly, he says, look, now we can punish criminals. Tell me when the WAQF Act is criminality not punished. They're bringing that in. They don't want to answer basic issues. Let's ask basic issues. The WAQF amendment bill, some provisions are very good. For example, it allows women and it makes women compulsory. Tell me who stopped women from being put in the WAQF boards in the states where BJP is there. Fawzia Khan, one of my friends, and she a member of parliament from Maharashtra, was in the WAQF board in Maharashtra when the UPA government was there.
The point that you made of women's representation of the WAQF board, the point is, you're right. No, one second, just let me come in. You're absolutely right. It was allowed legally. But practically speaking, at least half the WAQF boards have either no women representation or only one woman. And practically speaking, it has not been enforced and implemented, which it will now perhaps be.
Thank you. I agree with you. Thank you, I agree with you. What's up the BJP from putting them in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat?
So
Now they're talking about
the same logic applies to opposition as well, opposition rule states as well.
The fact of the matter is
Tehseen, may I just answer this question before you go on to the next?
But we are going with the presumption opposition is bad, right?
That is
please,
correct.
May I please make my points? May I please make
Let me just
one by one. I'll give you a full chance to come on to those points. Let's go one by one.
Let me
point by
address
point.
one point. Tehseen's understanding that this only stops itself at representation of women is itself flawed. Let me tell you what else this act does, or this bill does, sorry. Protection of inheritance rights of women heirs. That means you can't make the WAQF without discounting the rights of the women, especially the divorced women or the women who have lost, who have no other support. Their rights are also ensured, by the way. Point number 2, there's maintenance of widows and divorce inbuilt into this. Point number 3, there's mandatory representation, but apart from that, there's opportunity for women in the tribunal appeals also, which was not there before this. So it is multifarious. Secondly, you just said that it does not have retrospective effect. Do you want retrospective effect? WAQF by user will no longer be a concept now, which is good thing because anyways prior to 1995 it was not there. But now you are saying something completely different than what Dharani Dharan or Congress is saying. You are saying it should have retrospective effect. By the way, properties in dispute and government properties, this thing doesn't apply. But if you are saying retrospective effect should be there, then stick to your words. Then don't change it.
Tehseen.
Again, I'm not saying it should be retrospectively. You are lamenting on the issue of the land going away, and I'm saying it has no retrospective effect. So why are you talking about what is already passed? You are the one who removed that topic. Let me come to the second issue at hand. The more important issue. All of these WAQF boards, for example, the Uttar Pradesh WAQF board, the Madhya Pradesh WAQF board, the Maharashtra WAQF board, or the Karnataka or the Telangana WAQF board are constituted by the state assemblies or the state governments. Now, all of them are members who are associated with that political party, and all of them are in some way audited by the state audit departments. Now, by centralizing it, by going to the CAG, you centralize it. You want central command. This is infringing on the state's rights under under Schedule 7 of the Constitution. Third and most important, Article 300, which is the right to property, that also you're infringing. So what I'm trying to say is, you're not making legal arguments, and I don't expect the BJP to make. But the arguments that are made are
wrong argument has been made. One second, Tehseen, with utmost respect,
that is our issue.
With utmost respect, Tehseen, this WAQF issue comes under charities and endowments, which is entry 28 in the list 3 of the Constitution schedule, which is concurrent list. So therefore, centre has every right to make law, and the law of the centre will prevail over the state.
Okay.
So there's no question of federal structure being violated.
The Parliament session has been extended till 11:30. The Minority Affairs Minister is going to speak at 10:30 is the information that we have. So about 1 hour for the minister's reply as well as for the voting to take place till 11:30 is what the extension that has happened at this point of time. Let me quickly bring in some of the other panelists as well. Salem Dharani Dharan, the point being made over here, the government says that we are trying to reform whatever was required, and it is a fact. Even, for instance, Gaurav Gogoi said, yes, there is need for reform. Nobody will deny that there is a need for reform. But the point being made over here is that there's a lot of propaganda that is being spread, says the government, which is not factually true.
See, BJP saying that this is to benefit Muslims is like the hungry tiger telling its prey that to the deer that I've come to help you, right? BJP does not even have a single member of parliament who's of minority origin.
Let's temper our language, please. Yeah.
Right. No, see, I'm saying BJP does not even have a single member of parliament who's a Muslim. The minority of his minister is also not a Muslim, but that's not the point. But the point is, we don't have trust in BJP to do anything good for anybody. In fact, the temple lands in Gujarat was given by the Gujarat BJP government to build malls. And then BHP has to go to the High Court, Gujarat High Court, to get that back, right? So basically, this will now start with Muslims, but eventually it will come to us that they want to take our lands back. Basically, this is about property rights, infringing property rights. What is a WAQF? WAQF is nothing but Muslim people of Muslim faith will donate land to God, which will be used by the WAQF board for religious purposes, just also charitable purposes. They've been running schools, colleges. But now
but that is the whole point. That has been actually misused. There are several places where it has been misused. And for your information, Mr. Rijiju happens to be a minority. He's not a Muslim. He's a Buddhist. And that is mentioned also in the debate. If you had heard the debate, you would have known that, Salem Dharani Dharan. The point being made over here, and listen to my question, that if in Bodh Gaya, there can be non-Buddhists who are part of the board. If in Amarnath, there can be non-Hindus who are part of the Amarnath Shrine Board. and there are several such other examples that I can give you, then what is the issue if there are some non-Muslims, if non-Muslims are also affected by the decision of the Waqf board?
See, firstly, that's what I'm saying. In Tamil Nadu, if you look, in Waqf board, only Muslims are members. There's a CEO of the Tamil Nadu Waqf board who's an IAS officer, but a Muslim. Also, in the Hindu board, which manages temples, Hindu charitable board, endowment board. So we don't have people of other faith. So why do you infringe? It's a secular country, right? DMK as a government is for all faith, people for belonging to all caste, all creed, gender. That's all we stand for. Right, it can't be mutually exclusive that you are for one religion and you can't be for other religion.
No, but that's the whole point. The divisional commissioner or the DC will look into all of these acts and he will act as the commissioner, as what was stated by the Home Minister inside the House. Dr. Ranganathan, I want Dr. Ranganathan to comment on this. Dr. Ranganathan, this is something that is being done forcibly, that, there are certain religious minorities that are being targeted. That appears to be the sum and substance. And of course, Salem Dhanidharan says, I don't trust anything that the BJP does.
Good evening, Madhav, and good evening to my fellow panelists. I'm going to speak purely, as I always love to do, on first principles, and I'm going to make 3 points here. Number one, the fact of the matter is that I'm afraid we are missing the woods for the trees. Our government, supposedly a secular government, I'm talking from independence onwards, it has absolutely no business dictating what a board should be, what a religious board should be, what its constitution should be. The point of the matter is that it does across religions. Now that is absolutely wrong in a secular state. So I am with anyone, especially the Muslims here or even Salem, my friend, who says there is no business of the government to dictate what should be the composition of the board, how should the board act. Now, number two, I have nothing against the Waqf board, as I said, because there are thousands of boards and NGOs and charities that exist, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Isai, whatever it may be. The problem is the act that is empowering the board to take extrajudicial steps and decisions. It is a parallel government that is being run because of the act. Now this act is not there for Hindus. That is the problem. Let me give you one example and it will be very clear. Now, tomorrow, let us say the government empowers and makes a Waqf equivalent act for Hindus. Let's call it Sanatan Act. And there is a Hindu board that claims Jama Masjid on Sanatan land. After all, every mosque in this country is on Sanatan land, right? Now, the Muslims are aggrieved. They will say, we disagree with this. Now, in a normal circumstances, in a civilized country that upholds equality of law, the Muslims would directly approach a court. But because of the act, the Muslims have to approach a Sanatan tribunal, which is what the Hindus that are aggrieved because of the Waqf board decisions are having to do. Right. This is completely illegal, unconstitutional, and unfair and unequal distribution of what claims to be justice. That's point number two. The point number three is all the rumors that are being spread, everything that it's anti-Muslim, this, that. The problem is it has cornered BJP into concentrating on the fact that they are saying the Waqf Amendment Act is not anti-Muslim. The point is it is anti-Hindu, anti-minority, anti-non-Muslim, I mean to say. Secondly, a lot of amendments have not touched a lot of draconian clauses. For example, out of the 870,000 Waqf properties that have a survey to be conducted, the state has to pay for it. That clause still remains. Now, please tell me, what business is it? In fact, it is violative of a constitutional article. The state cannot pay income, people who are paying taxes, their money to be used for religious purposes. Okay,
you've covered a lot of ground. Dr. Ranganathan, you've covered a lot of ground. I want to bring in the BJP spokesperson because you're saying that this is not a bill that is in any way anti-Muslim, it is anti-non-minorities. Respond to that, Shahzad.
First of all, and I have great regard for Anand, but I hope he will be as patient as I was with him. He said he believes in first principles and he started off by saying that the government should have no right to interfere in religious boards like the Waqf board. Anand Ranganathan, there are more than 5 cases I have in my hand where it has been said categorically that Waqf board is not a religious body. So please, your first principles are wrong, Anand. Just because you're emotional about an issue doesn't mean you're legally right. And you're a great scientist doesn't make you a great lawyer. So please get your facts right. Waqfs are not religious boards. Don't interrupt, sir. Please hear the truth. And I believe on this matter, the judges of the High Court and the Supreme Court are well above you, sir. even though you have great understanding of the law, they are above you. So therefore, they have come to a conclusion that Waqf are not a religious board. Sir, Anand, you have to be tolerant. Anand, you have to...
One by one.
Anand, I did not interrupt you.
But Anand, just 1 second. Dr. Agnath,
okay, let me quote for you. Syed Fazal Pukia Thangal versus Union of India. Waqf board is a statutory body, pure and simple, not a representative body of Muslims.
Kerala High
I can
Court.
go on
Kerala
and on.
High Court.
Exactly.
Yes, go ahead.
So firstly, your first principles are wrong, Anand. It's a government it's a statutory creation, and the government has every right to talk about the administration of Waqf, which is not a religious issue. Point number 2. Now you have said that a parallel government system, that's exactly the point we're trying to say. Till 2013 amendment was brought, it was still okay, but after 2013 amendment, a new parallel system where Waqf became a law unto themselves due to vote bank politics has been created. Waqf by user, for instance. What is Waqf by user? It is not even an Islamic concept, and therefore we have corrected that historical wrong by doing away all this and ensuring that the principles on which any property is managed, charitable property, are by and large the same for every. Now in Hindus, just 10 seconds more. In Hindus there is no concept of Waqf. In Islam there is a concept of Waqf, but the management of the Waqf properties, because the WAQF is different, the Mutawalli is just a manager. He cannot be above the constitution.
It's for better management and regulation, right?
Just third.
Quickly,
in the tribunals point, first, again, Anand, tribunals are creation of the constitution, and there is very well established law that tribunals can be there for...
There are many who have not even spoken.
But in this tribunal, the Islamic representative have been removed and the judge has been put. So it is as good as a civil court.
Dr. Ragnathan.
Yeah, now, first, second, now please, I hope I will not be interrupted. You've given 7 minutes to Shehzad. I want to rebut on
this is
one.
absolutely lies.
Okay,
this is absolute lies. Anand, no, if I've been given 7 minutes, I will leave the debate or you leave. If I've been given 7 minutes, I will leave the debate or you leave.
It's okay.
Have I been given 7 minutes?
He's saying it in a lighter way. Now let him continue.
No, his vein is lighter and my vein is heavy.
Let's go one by one. Yeah.
This is what happens when the shoe is on the other foot. The other day, Shehzad, when I took 2 minutes, he said, you've given Anand 6 minutes. Now when I say 7 minutes,
okay, let's not get into a side debate.
This is what happens.
There are other panelists who have not even spoken yet. Please. Dr. Ragnathan.
I don't know why this aggro of Shehzad, it doesn't help him. Now, let's talk about the arguments here. When I talked about religious or boards, the government has no business to indulge in something which might be religious board, might not be religious board, but it is certainly a non-governmental board. That is what I meant. For example, the government also has no business in having temple boards. The government is a secular, supposedly a secular state. Why is it intervening in affairs which are obviously, in the case of Waqf also and Hindu temples, religious matters? Now, is it anybody's guess that the Waqf board is not deliberating on religious matters? Of course it is. Point number 2. The most important point is what Shehzad does not mention, that Waqf can still claim non-government property, and that property would include temple land, Gurdwara land. So it is not a case.
This is complete lies.
I will come back to you. I'll come back to you. Shehzad, I'll come back to you. Okay. It's not, see, we can't have a monologue between two people. But let others come in. Mr. Shaheen is also qualified.
You bust his lie.
Mr. Shaheen, let Mr. Shaheen come in.
This line.
No, certainly the fact is that this is a system that has been there since our independence, where the government looks at both the aspects.
I will finish in 10 seconds. I promise I'll finish in
exactly 10 seconds.
Exactly 10 seconds. This is how Anand misleads, and I'm sorry to call you out, Anand. Waqf by user is, please, now listen, have the patience. You also spoke for 10 minutes right now. Now listen, Waqf by user concept, without a deed, without an actual property belonging to you and you giving it in a deed to somebody as Waqf, for Waqf. Now no Waqf can be created without a deed. So you to say that now Waqf can continue this thing is wrong. It's just wrong.
Others come in. Now, GM Shaheen, the point being made over here is, why should the government even be involved in this? Whether it is Waqf, whether it is Hindu temples, that's a larger question that Dr. Ragnathan is asking. Would you like to respond to that?
I will like to give one of the example that in Himachal, like a place, there is one of the dargah and the land is grabbed one of the person and he has constructed a 5-star hotel there. That is the problem in all over our country. If you can see, there are very many people who have grabbed the land of Waqf and the dargahs and, you know, that Maulanas who had a personal interest. What's wrong in this bill? because what has been introduced, that is all for the benefit of the people of the Muslim of the country. Every Muslim is happy because if it will give the benefit to the poor Muslims, so what's wrong? Every person must support. It is the problem of the Congress people, congressmen, because they don't have any work to do and to go for the opposition and what else, shout on the bill. Because otherwise, if you can see yesterday's statement, I mean today is the statement of the Imam of Dargah, this here in what we say here.
Ajmer Sharif, you're talking about Ajmer.
Here, in Jamia Masjid, Hazrat Nizamuddin Jamia Masjid, even in here in, I don't remember one another Dargah, and very many people went forward and they spoke in favor of this bill.
Yes.
So why so? Why these people are speaking? Because where is the problem? Problem is only in so few people, and that's among in the Congress where they had grabbed the poor people's land. That is the reason only they are shouting.
Okay, let me bring in Rajiv Riaz Pratapgadi on this. Rajiv Riaz Pratapgadi, this is nothing but a political positioning that is being done when there are those, including the CBCI, the Catholic Bishops Conference of India, and also, in fact, the Ajmer Sharif Sajjad Nashin, if I'm not mistaken, who has come out in support of the WAQF bill, saying that there's a lot of abuse and this is a reform that is much needed today.
Reform is required, sir. Let me tell you, reform is required. But what is causing spasmodic pain in BJP's stomach is 9.4 lakhs acre land. But where reform is required, Madhavji Sahab, let me tell you, 1% of Indians hold 40% of total wealth of this country. 50% of Indians hold just 3% of total wealth of this country. So reform is required.
Sir, is there a difference between donation and earning on merit?
Temples.
What are you comparing here, Mr.? What are you trying to, Mr. Pratapgadi, at the end of the day, if there are people who create jobs, the people who own industries, how are you comparing that with what is a religious donation? What is the comparison to be made also over here?
At the same time, he's indulged in corruption. He's making all the money through corruptions.
Do you have any proof?
With the millibigat of the government and ministers.
Mr. Pratapgadi, if you have evidence, please speak, sir. If you have evidence, please speak.
Adani Sahab is a great friend of our Prime Minister.
No, this is too generic. I'm very sorry. This is too generic. But let me bring in Jerome Anto. Jerome Anto, there are people here who will, of course, go with all sorts of cliches, including what the BJP says is a lot of disinformation surrounding the WAQF bill. Would you like to tell some of our panelists here, including Selam Dharnidhar and Tehseen Poonawala and others, why is the CBCI now very firmly opposing it? Give us the example of what exactly has happened in Munambam in Kerala, which many on the panel appear to have forgotten.
Thank you, Madhavan. Thank you for bringing me on the show. Perhaps many of the panelists do not want to bite the bullet, and I think I would do it. My first question is, wasn't creation of Pakistan itself, a big WAQF land that has been given purely for a religious purpose, right? Given that as a context, in a secular nation like Bharat, where is the room for such a board? Are we not killing the whole secular fabric of this nation? That being my first point, we must also understand that because I am from Kerala and I'm from Cochin, there have been n number of Christian families who have lost properties overnight. I'm sure you would have seen it on news. So, and they don't have any recourse. Why go to Cochin? Right in Bangalore, I can testify. Right opposite, I'm a Catholic. Right opposite my church, there's a graveyard. We have close to 15 families who have lost their property. They have legitimate land papers, but they are scared. They have fear. Because the graveyard which is adjoining has taken over the complete property. See, this is the fact. Let's not beat around politics. I must congratulate the current government for taking such a bold decision. I would say, forget about amending. You must actually abolish this law. it does not fit into the current secular fabric of this nation.
Okay.
So I would say that this is more of an abuse, a misuse. It is very strategically used to enhance and build a particular community, which will actually erode the secular fabric of this nation.
All right. Would you like to respond to that? Would you like to respond to that, Selim Dhanidharan?
Let's bite the bullet.
No. See,
okay, that's one more thing.
I do not want to go into the individual anecdotes, but having said that, there is a proper board, there is redressal mechanism.
Is the CBCI wrong? Are you saying today on national television CBCI is wrong? Because he's actually quoting the example that has been cited by not just the Kerala Bishops Council, but also the Catholic Bishops Conference.
I can say from Tamil Nadu example that the WAQF board in Tamil Nadu, right, will have arbitration. If someone is not happy with the arbitration, they can go to the High Court. So do you mean to say that there is no trust in the High Court? Right, now you have replaced that with the district magistrate. Even now the problem is not going to be solved if at all what you are saying is right. Right, it has to go to the district magistrate. So district magistrate is going to have non-part. Does all district magistrate behave in a non-partisan manner? No.
They're supposed to, and you can challenge it in a court of law. You can challenge it in a court of law. Is that not true?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Even now you can challenge in a court of law. It can go to High Court. Point one. Point number two. Right now there is district magistrate. Right, you are replacing district magistrate. What guarantee can you give the district magistrate will act in a non-partisan manner? In Uttar Pradesh, we have seen Supreme Court has mentioned the district magistrates have taken administration in their hand, bulldozed. Bulldozer Raj has happened.
Yeah.
District magistrate saying that's wrong.
Okay. Yeah, quick response.
In one way, approach alag hai, maksad sabka ek hai, they are all opposing BJP in one way or the other. So give me some time patiently. The party which has DM in its name, DMK, is opposing the role of DM, but this DMK party was happy with the matter initiated in the WAQF, going to the WAQF which had only Muslim members. The entire matter can only be heard in the tribunal without recourse for any kind of appeal to a civil court, and that was completely fine. That would have been unbiased. But here a DM who is a constitutionally elected, part of a constitutionally elected system, that person cannot be trusted. Wah bhai wah. This is the great ideas of Selim Dhanidharan and the DMK. Now please sir, let me complete. I did not show. Sir please, I did not interrupt you. You can have your turn in your turn. Let me speak. Secondly, now some people are saying that abolish the WAQF. You know, they are the greatest villains against the Hindu community. I'll tell you why. Because when the WAQF is protected under Article 25 of Muslims, that it is their right, their fundamental right, they can have WAQF. You can't take that away from them. It's their right. Whether you like it or you don't like it, that's your problem. Now, WAQFs have to be registered is something that the government can control because it comes under an endowment system. But they are saying now the WAQF should be unlimitedly unregistered. And look at Anand Ranganathan. Anand Ranganathan, then by that logic, if the government should not interfere in any religious matters, you will allow triple talaq to take place. You will allow nikah halala to take place because you will say what right does government have to participate in the personal laws of the people. They should be allowed to carry on the personal laws irrespective of whether it is against the constitution. So this is the same Anand Ranganathan. By the way, in 2012 when the Mahakum was given to the management of Azam Khan, he did not have a problem.
Okay, one by one. Let's not make this personal. Let's not make this personal. Gaurav Chachra is also with us from Samajwadi Party. But Anand Ranganathan coming to you. Anand coming to you right after Gaurav Chachra. He's not yet come in on this debate. Gaurav Chachra, end of the day, you know, there is a need to regulate and there is a need to ensure that the system functions efficiently and there is misuse. You don't have a situation where mutawallis are sitting over property which has been donated for WAQF and it's not being used for the purpose जिसके लिए वो WAQF का डोनेशन किया गया था. जवाब दीजिए.
देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी जमीनों पर कब्जा करना चाहती है. इनको जमीनों से बहुत प्यार है. जिस प्रकार डिफेंस की जमीन, रेलवे की जमीन उन्होंने बेच दी, ये WAQF की जमीन भी बेच देंगे. कैसे करेंगे? उद्योगपति भाइयों के लिए ये कार्य कर रहे हैं. आज
उद्योगपतियों के लिए किया जा रहा है.
बड़ा प्यार आ गया अचानक. उस समय कहां थे जब चुनाव के समय में 2024 में इन्होंने बड़े मंचों से बोला कि ये ज्यादा बच्चे पैदा करने वाले लोग हैं जो जमीनें हड़प लेंगे. घुसपैठ क्या बोला? इनके सांसद रमेश भिदोरी ने सदन में एक मुस्लिम सांसद अपमानित किया.
सर, ये दूसरे देश के नागरिक अगर यहाँ आ रहे हैं, आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इनटू द मेरिट्स ऑफ दैट, इलीगली अगर आ रहे हैं, उसको आप वक्त से क्यों जोड़ रहे हैं?
2024 में जो 43 सीटें ये हारे हैं उसकी वजह से अपना कहीं ना कहीं अपना जो वोट बैंक है उसको तलाश रहे हैं. इसी वजह से बिल में संशोधन कर रहे हैं. समाजवादी पार्टी इस बिल के संशोधन के खिलाफ है.
Dr. Ranganathan, let others come in. Dr. Ranganathan.
All of them are attacking
Shehzad is in the studio, so he can't be faded out. But can I please also request Madhav through you that panelists should not get personal, especially those who've called Modi, Hitler, and Shah. So now the point is, let us debate on the arguments. The argument is, let people on the panel not muddy the waters by saying there are some people who are the biggest enemies of Hindus who want to abolish WAQF. Nobody wants to abolish WAQF. This is the problem. I am for abolishing the WAQF Act, because the Act is the one that is giving undue and unjust powers to a board. Now, point number 2, I am against any practice, religious or otherwise, that is discriminatory, that is patriarchal, that is misogynistic, and that goes for anything that is applied for civil laws or personal laws. That is the reason why I am against child marriage. So people who are waxing eloquent, who have now switched parties, should know that my stand has been completely consistent.
Okay, let's not. No, Dr. Ranganathan, you're saying don't make it personal. No, let's not, because we're taking away from the seriousness of the issue.
Give me an opportunity. 30 seconds. Madhav,
okay,
please.
But quick response, and then I'm requesting the two of you. Let's not make this personal, please.
Unlike my dear brother Anand, I don't have a thin skin. I have a thick skin. I'm happy to. Now, Anand, I did not interrupt you. Anand, my voice may be or may not be faded out, but I hope that your arguments are not faded out. You have to listen now. Anand, you have to listen. Anand, now you have to listen. No, this is not right.
Okay, quickly.
Anand has to listen now.
Yes, listen, make your point.
Anand, you have to listen. Don't let people judge you that you're not listening to my point.
One by one, please. One by one, gentlemen.
Now, 1 second. Anand, it's your turn to listen.
One by one.
Thank you. Anand, I may have switched parties. I may have called Modi whatever I called. At least, unlike you, I did not say Diwali should not be celebrated and firecrackers should not be burst. Or nationalism was a bad thing prior to 2014. Prior to 2014 and now after 2014 is different.
No, this is not correct.
Sir, don't interrupt me. Let me complete. Madhav, let me complete. Let me make my larger point.
Quickly complete your point. Quickly complete your point.
I may have targeted one or the other personality, but I never targeted nationalism. Now let me make my larger point. This is not about you or me. The point I'm making is, Anand, maybe you should try and understand what I'm saying. The WAQFs are a part of the religious rights of Muslims. WAQF properties can either be unregistered, which you may like it, or we can have them registered, which should be the norm, because everyone else has to register their endowments. Unless you want to give somebody a free pass. And secondly, where were you when the Azam Khan was made the head of the Mahakumbh? You had no problem. But today Hindus are put in the WAQF board. You have a problem. This is your problem.
Let's quickly shift focus to the second part of this debate.